seen how a lot of buyers would come and purchase distressed properties, and how they would turn around and apply a business plan, a lot of times do some repositioning, and which most of the time it ended in improvements for the whole community, not just for the one property that they were purchasing. So I think that really caught my attention, and it was very appealing aspect of the industry for me.
NAI Global presents How's Biz.
Greetings and welcome to the How's Biz podcast, sponsored by NAI Global. Today's guest is Gisella Haidar with NAI Global's capital markets team based in New York City. Welcome, Gisella.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you.
So it's nice to see you live, or at least through the Zoom. Will be podcast only audio, but we've met before, and one of the things that struck me is you had a little bit of an accent. I've learned since that you're Argentinian by background, and what you emigrated with your family when you were 16.
Yep, that's right. We came from Buenos Aires to Texas.
And then you ended up going to Texas Texas Christian University in Dallas, Fort Worth, right?
Yeah, I came when I was, I think, a sophomore in high school. So I did the last few years of high school in Texas, and we first moved to a small town called Cleburne, which is right outside of the DFW Metroplex area, and then eventually went to Fort Worth, where I finished high school, and then started at TCU, Texas Christian University, and then graduated from there and started working for C-III.
In your C-III, which listeners, I think is the parent company of NAI Global. And I think you told me, Gisella, you started working with C-III actually in Dallas, not in New York City.
That's right. Yeah. So I started working at C-III back in 2012 in Dallas. I worked there for 3 years and then moved to New York eventually in 2015. And I've been here ever since.
So you started with C-III Realty Services in 2012. And what was the nature of your work then? Was it related to special servicing work? Because at the period we were cleaning up the mess from the great financial crisis.
Yeah, exactly. So I was not working for the special servicer, but I did a lot of work for them. So I was part of C-III Realty Services, which was the dispositions brokerage arm of the special servicer. So we sold a lot of like the CMBS 1.0 deals that came through the pipeline of the special servicer and liquidated those deals for them.
Got it. And I'm going by pretty good memory. NAI Global has been owned by C-III Capital Group for, I believe, 10 or 11 years. So you really started right about the time C-III acquired NAI Global.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I think our group merged with NAI, I want to say shortly after that, maybe around 2015.
Okay, and that's one of the things I learned when I first started working with NAI Global is the capital markets group, which is headed by Arthur Milston and Alex Waddy. You guys do dispositions only, correct?
Yeah, we do investment sales and capital markets. But the bulk of our work is in investment sales.
And since we're on the subject, Gisella, why don't you dig in and tell us what kind of property types your group specializes in, and then really specifically, what's your role with the capital markets group? What's your area of expertise?
Yeah. So we do every property type, and we look at every market. So we're all very generalists in that sense, especially like going back to like 2012 through 2015, when we were selling all of the CMBS deals for C-III Asset Management, the special servicer. We had a lot of deal volume and got experience in every single property type in various markets throughout the country. So we do have a large transactional history, a lot of like secondary and tertiary markets as well. But right now we would look at it pretty much everything.
Well, certainly the great financial crisis was damaging to all asset classes for sure. So not surprising you were involved with office, industrial, multifamily, you name it.
Yeah.
And collectively, I've seen it somewhere, but why don't you share with listeners, what is the monetary count of transactional work your group has closed? It's well in excess of $1 billion, but what is it?
I want to say it's about 16 billion, if I have the number right. Definitely a lot. We've closed on a lot of deals, every property type, like you mentioned, retail, office, industrial, multifamily, hotels. That's inclusive of everything that we've sold since 2012.
Got it. Well, what was your attraction to the real estate industry? I know your college, your undergraduate degree, and we're going to talk about your recently earned postgraduate degree. Your degree was economics and something related, but how did you end up with a real estate company?
Yeah, you're right. So I major in economics, minor in math, and I really came to commercial real estate just by chance. I started interviewing for jobs my senior year of college, and I read the description for C-III, and I thought it could be a good match. Went to the interview. I was very open with them. I don't know anything about real estate, and everybody was like, "No worries, we'll teach you." So I came here by chance, and then after the first year of being an analyst, I was hooked. I knew that I wanted to be in it long term, and it was a career that I wanted to pursue. And really, what really appealed to me about it was that I could really see the implications of the economy and public policy, having obviously a background in economics, and how that affected the commercial real estate industry, and also vice versa, especially like you mentioned, coming out of the great financial crisis, which was something that we started very in detail during my college years and my economics major. So I think that was something that really caught my attention, and then seeing how a lot of buyers would come and purchase distressed properties, and how they would turn around and apply a business plan, a lot of times do some repositioning, and which most of the time it ended in improvements for the whole community, not just for the one property that they were purchasing. So I think that really caught my attention, and it was very appealing aspect of the industry for me.
That's a very thoughtful, insightful view. It's not one that we often think about or hear about, is commercial real estate's role as part of the greater economy and vice versa. So well said. And you also touched on something that will be a generational thing. You are among thousands of young people that will someday be an older person and look back in your career, and say, gosh, what a great time to start a career right after one of the worst financial crises in the history of our country. So that's a remarkable place to start. So you learn a lot, though, through if the distress itself is a teachable moment. Yeah. So as you alluded to, the recreation of wealth, and certainly the phrase value add became like a predecessor keywords to any acquisition for the last decade. We've run out of value add stuff. But that's maybe a new wave is coming for the rest of the 2020s. Early on, did you have a mentor? You said when you started, of course, like all of us, you don't know much. And they said, we'll teach you. So did you have a mentor, or was it plural, mentors?
Yeah. I had a lot of mentors throughout my career so far. Going back to the days in Dallas, just to mention a few, Kathleen Copeland, Linda Simpson, who were at the time were VPs in our group for C-III Realty Services. Also, obviously my current mentor and boss, Arthur Milston, as well. We've worked together for about 7 years, and I've learned so much from him. And I've also participated in more structured mentorship programs like the ones from ICSC, ULI. I now just won a scholarship through WX as well, which is a organization for women in commercial real estate. And I will be starting a new mentorship program with them in September. So I've definitely benefited a lot and learned a lot from great mentors throughout my career.
That's very smart, Gisella, to be deliberate about it. Most people don't have the awareness to be proactive. So my hat's off to you for that.
Thank you.
I was going to ask you about the women thing, but there were some women at C-III that you were a mentee of. So you're not alone, but you're still a minority, in terms of gender. Was that off-putting to you when you first joined the industry, or did you think nothing of it?
No, I mean, I was the when I first joined, I was the only analyst woman in a pool of, I want to say 7 or 8 analysts. But I never really felt like, I was any different. It was never a disadvantage for me or anything like that. I think everybody just welcomed me with open arms, and they always make me feel like one of the boys. So, that was, for me, that never was an issue. But I definitely love being part of women organizations, like the ones that I mentioned, like the, there's a women initiative section in ULI, and then WX. I just, I love getting to network with other female members within the industry, and just listening to what they go through on a daily basis, and just having that, sisterhood within the industry.
Excellent. And I'm glad to hear that you were welcomed as an equal, which is appropriate. Are you also involved with the New York chapter of CREW, Commercial Real Estate Women?
Yeah, I'm technically not a member, but I've been to a lot of their events, and, have participated in a lot of initiatives as well with them. But I that's something that I need to I need to get back to, completing the membership requirements with them.
Well, there's only so much time in a day. It sounds like you're plenty active, but it's probably a good thing to pursue eventually.
Mhm.
But going back to the detail on your work, you specialize in financial modeling and underwriting commercial properties. Is that correct?
Mhm. That's right. Yeah. So, we are a small team, so we do get to wear a lot of many hats, and we really, all of us are responsible for the deals, since sourcing the deal all the way through closing, and really, provide that support for Arthur Milston and Alex Waddy. So, we are, yes, a lot of it goes to underwriting and modeling the deals, and, DCF and performance, but a lot of it is also talking on the phone with investors, and, conducting the marketing process, and then, contract negotiation, and all the way through closing.
Well, we're obviously entering, and really already in, a very dynamic time with the
Mhm.
capital markets space. You and I listen in and participate in a lot of capital markets calls, multifamily investment calls, and it's a moving target. And it's what happens next could be a hang on to your hat kind of moment. So I'm sure you'll be plenty busy, you and the whole team. One of the reasons we wanted to have you, Gisella, is you just earned a master's degree in real estate development from New York University. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Tell us about the degree program, and what did you learn? And I think there were some special projects that you did within it that also generated some other recognition we'll name in a minute. But why don't you talk about the degree program itself?
Yeah. I mean, I loved every single thing about the program. Just how the classes are laid out. the fact that the majority of the professors that I had were adjunct professors. So a lot of them work for large corporations during the day, doing their, day job in commercial real estate. And then they teach night classes. So you really get to see that real world, view and experience within the industry. And I loved everything about it. My professors, just like also the curriculum was really good. Being able to learn more about modeling and underwriting, and then the development process itself. It was a very rich experience for me.
I'm just curious, and listeners maybe too, because I've worked on some entitlement programs myself, did you touch on the entitlement process, and particularly the softer issues around things that happen with, for example, community opposition to a specific development?
Yep, we have a whole semester class on that. And I found it very interesting. We actually used the case study from the Disney development, the land assembly in Florida, and it was one of the best classes that I've taken.
I don't know the history personally, but I'm guessing that took at least a decade to accomplish.
The Disney case.
Yes.
Yeah, it was in the works for many years. Yeah, for sure.
Not surprising. Well, that's a subject we'll have to renew some other day, but I'm glad it was a topic of your studies, because it's an important factor. If you can't get approval, all the bells, whistles, financing, all that doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything else that you want to touch on with your master's degree? I know along the way it generated some recognition. So listeners, Gisella has been named by Trepp as one of the future commercial real estate leaders to watch. And so again, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're one of just a handful of young people that Trepp has recognized as some of our future leaders. Within your work with NAI Global and the capital markets team, how might you apply your real estate development degree and what you've learned in the last couple of years?
Yeah. So, with the capital markets team, we haven't done any development deals yet. We haven't advised on any development deals, but I think overall it really, especially for me that, I never had a formal educational background in real estate. I think it really helped connect the dots in many of the different areas of study. It also, just gave me a much more well-rounded perspective of the industry, since I got to get a lot of exposure to different areas and different, all the different classes that we took. And I think also developers are very creative people. And when you learn to think like one, you can be so much more creative about your deals. You can really think about the deal in a different way. So what's going to happen when a new buyer comes in and buys a property? And how do you, now that you can think more about that process and what they have to go, like you just mentioned, the entitlements and zoning and, things like that, especially, the financial aspect of it as well, then you can kind of like go back and think about how you would sell the property. So I think in that sense, it just gives you a much more well-rounded perspective.
Well, I say if you can be in your client or customer's shoes and think like her or him, you're more likely to do a better job on their behalf. So
exactly,
makes complete sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Gisella Haidar with NAI Global's Capital Markets Group, it's been delightful speaking with you. Wish you well in the rest of your career, and see you soon, I hope.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for tuning in to How's Biz, presented by NAI Global. Review, share, subscribe, and keep an eye out for the next episode.